Hello everybody and welcome back to Steve's Gear. And today we're going to take a look at the Wurkkos HD02. Now this is a fairly recent release from Wurkkos. Thank you to Wurkkos for sending this out to me to take a look at. Now this one on Amazon right now has a price of $129.99, but there is a ton of discount codes and stuff on there. So it's about $64.99 when it's all said and done. So I imagine about $65 is going to be the average price for this. Now this is not going to be probably your everyday carry style light. You probably could carry it every day if you wanted to, but I think it's more geared towards a work light / outdoor light, camping, things like that. If you're carrying like a tool belt or something, this may be pretty easy to use in there. But yeah, after the video, you can decide if this might be something you would want to carry every day. But I think for camping and things like that, it's going to be great. Now taking a look here at the box, it does have a few of the main specs here: 3200 lumens of max output, 330 beam distance, green laser, and it has a UV light as well. Now, if you want to pause that and read some of the specs on the back, you can do that. I'm not going to go through each individual lumens of every different light. I think that's kind of, probably boring for you guys listening to me say that. But I'll go over a few of them throughout the video. Now, taking a look at the light here, it is, a kind of a more industrial, heavy-duty looking light, and I kind of get bored of just standard flashlights, and I do appreciate when companies do something a little bit different. And I would say this is a little bit different, but it's functional. It's got a lot of cool features on it, and it is kind of an all-in-one if you wanted, a camping flashlight. And we'll go through some of those reasons why I think that here in a few minutes. Now, taking a look here at the back, you do have a pocket clip. Now, this is a pretty heavy light. It comes in at 0.43 pounds, so you're looking at almost a half a pound for this guy. So it'd be heavy carrying around in your pocket every day. It's not deep carry, but if you got some molly, like on a backpack or a sling bag, or you want to throw it in a camping tote or your center console or something, it'd work great for that. Now, you do have a little flap here for your USB-C charging port, and then you can actually reverse charge this. And so if your cell phone goes dead and you need to make a phone call, you could actually charge it off of this to get a quick boost on it. Now looking here at the battery at the bottom, it has this kind of a nice little screw here for taking out the battery. I do kind of like the way they did this. It just feels secure. Now it does have an O-ring right here. And inside the package, you do actually get a replacement O-ring, you get a charging cable, and you get a lanyard. Now it's magnetic as well. It's a pretty strong magnet. As you can see, it keeps magnetizing to the battery. Now this is Wurkkos' 21700 5000 milliamp hour battery. And this is a flat top battery, but Wurkkos did say on their website you can use it with a post style battery too. So if you have a couple extra 21700 batteries, this will last you a long time. Putting everything back in, it does screw in pretty easy. Thread this back in. Now this is IP6 weather resistant as well. Once we get that all screwed back down there. Taking a look here at the main head. Now you do get a LED here, which is a SFT70, which comes in at about 6500K. You get your UV light and you get your green laser pointer. Now here on the front is your selector switch, how you operate the light. Pretty self-explanatory. Flip it all the way to the left is going to activate your UV light. Switching it to the middle is going to be your main light, and to the right is going to be your green laser. Now that's the only button on it, is this one here in the middle. It does have a little indicator there to indicate your battery life. If it's solid green, flashing green, solid red, flashing red, you can kind of read through those specs in the manual if you want on what each individual one means. But yeah, it gives you a pretty good indicator of where your battery's at. Now the super cool thing about this, at least in my eyes, is these little wings. So these fold up and they activate these LEDs here on the bottom. Now it's kind of a diffused style LED, which is pretty cool. Now it has two different functions on it. You can actually use this in a warm light or a cool light. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that now. So hopefully by the video you can see a little bit of the difference between the two. Now it actually gives you some specs right here on the side of the light when you open this up. So it has a color temperature of 3000 to 6000. So your warm light's going to be 3000. Your cool light's going to be 6000. It tells you how to change it. And then this has a max output of 300 lumens. Now the 300 lumens is going to be on your cool light. If you have it on warm light, you're going to get 250 lumens. And I really enjoy the warm light, especially when I'm out camping and stuff like that. I think that warm light is super cool. To change it, it's pretty easy. You just click on the button and hold it down, and it will, just kind of fade between warm and cool. Now, I don't know how well it's going to, show that on video as I do it. And then change the brightness. You just kind of click and hold, and it will go all the way to the top and flash. And then you click it and hold it again, and it will ramp all the way down to low. So pretty nice. I think it's a pretty cool function. Now you can have just one open if you want to. It works just fine. And it automatically will turn off as soon as you close it. But once you open it up, it works out great. Now another cool feature about this is they actually have a thread down here in the bottom. Now it's kind of like your standard tripod thread. I think it's like a 1/4-inch thread. Now I have like just a little DJI stand here. Now if you want, you can screw this in. Screws in pretty good. Open it up. And it gives you a lot more stability. If you want to set this on like a picnic table or something like that, you could open these up and, you'd have plenty of light for playing some cards, having a little conversation, or maybe you're working on something. Maybe you're adjusting a knife or cleaning a knife or something. You need a little extra light, and it makes it pretty stable. Now, the other cool function is if you're out taking some photography pictures or something and you have a taller tripod, you can get this thing off the ground quite a bit and kind of get a little bit more of a flood down as you're working. So I think that's pretty cool. I do like that they included that on there. Now, it will stand just fine without the stand. It's just a little bit more stable, obviously with the feet. And it is, like I said, magnetic. So if you find something you want to magnetize it on, it works pretty good. For me, like if you're changing your oil or something in your truck, you could just magnetize this underneath the truck to the frame or something, open this up, and it will give you light going upwards, reflecting off the bottom. So pretty cool little work light. If you're in a trade or something like that, maybe you're working in a small little room, working on an electrical box or something, opening this up and just being able to kind of set it how you want it, would work out pretty cool. So you could also put it like this if you wanted to, if you needed some light going upwards, if you're working on something. So a little bit of versatility there. Now, operating the main light is pretty simple. You just select that main light switch there in the middle. One click will turn it on, and it's a ramping style mode. So you go ahead and press the button and hold it down, and it will go all the way up to the max output, and then you hold it again, and it'll go all the way down to the minimum output. I'll put a little clip in here. All right, as you saw, it's a little bit hard to see. I tried to turn the lights off and make it a little bit, but it does have a pretty good hot spot in the middle, but it's not super, super tight and has plenty of spill. So when this thing's on full brightness, it is very bright. Now you can double click it to go to full brightness. And you can also triple click it to go to your strobe mode. So it works out pretty good like that. And then you activate your UV light, super simple. Switch it over to UV, turn it on. And if you press and hold, it will go to high. Press and hold, it will go to low. Now, the high on this is about 3 watt and the low is 0.8 watts. So I don't use UV a whole lot, but I do feel like on the high on this is a little bit more powerful than some of the other UV lights I've had. I'll cut in a quick clip here. All right, as you saw, you can use the UV pretty easy. Now the last one is going to be your green laser pointer, and this one's not much to show, but the laser pointer does work pretty good. If you need to use it, maybe you are in construction or something, and you want to use this to point out something to another worker or a customer or something like that, it would work out pretty good. Now, one thing I will say is if you have like the green laser pointer on, now if you have a light on, you can you can open up the wings and it will turn off that light and automatically go to the wings. Now, the only thing is when you close the wings, you just have to remember that it will turn that light back on. And I didn't realize that when I first started using this. And I had the green laser selected, opened the wings, closed it. And then I realized that the green laser was on the ceiling a couple hours later. So something to keep in mind. Now, if it's off and you open up the wings and close it, nothing comes on. So same thing, if the main light's on, you open up the wings, it'll turn the main light off. But as soon as you close them, the main light will come back on. So just kind of remember that when you're using it. But other than that, that's pretty much the operation of this one. Like I said, it is super simple. And I think it does have a lot of versatility. This could be kind of like your all-in-one camping light. Someone like me who camps in the back of their truck, I have a canopy, and I could use this as my lantern in the back of the truck at night. Plenty of light to change, plenty of light to, look through bags and stuff like that. And then when I get out of the truck, I could use this as my main flashlight. And even if I'm cooking, if I'm cooking something on the picnic table or on a rock or something, and a lot of times I do have a tripod with me. I could just screw it in the bottom, open these wings up, and it would be a little higher up and give me plenty of light for just a little bit of stuff like that. So, pretty versatile. Multi options on this one. So if you're in a trade or something, I could see this coming in pretty handy. Working at a tight spot, maybe doing some electrical or some plumbing or something like that. Yeah. kind of a cool option from Wurkkos. I appreciate that they did something a little bit different. I always like outdoor style lights and things like that. So let me know in the comments what you think, if you think it'd be a good deal, and how you would use it. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.